Cool. All right. So looks like I am live. Let's see. Everybody there in the chat room, I wonder. Let's see. Everybody there in the chat room. Okay. Cool. All right. Thanks for coming out, everybody. I guess we have folks watching, it looks like. So sorry for the awkward start there. Apologize about that. Great. So we've got 15 people in here already. Great. That's a good start. So let's give a moment for people to just kind of file in. So we'll just hang out. I'll sing you guys a lullaby or something. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. That's terrible. But I wanted to make sure folks are in here first before I start just sort of laying out the plan. Obviously, answer basic Q&A. That part isn't a surprise or anything like that, for sure. But in addition to that, I am planning to take advantage of this opportunity to answer questions that not only game rules questions, but also just, you know, those who are backers already know about the you know, the update that I had sent out a week or two ago, wherein I explained about just some things that I was going through personally that had set back the project some. So believe it or not, I am perfectly comfortable, you know, answering questions about that. If you guys have any, don't be shy. Like, you can ask anything. If it's something that I don't, you know, feel like sharing, then I just won't. But I'm a pretty open book personally, so I don't mind, you know, just sharing answers to questions, even if they're personal. They could be about even, like, you know, my history or my background or how I got into this stuff. That could be, you know, also, of course, more recent about all the stuff that sort of happened to me recently with the pending divorce and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, whatever you guys want to ask, rules questions, of course, totally fair game. This can just be like a personal, like, you know, we're hanging out. I might not see your faces, but you're there. So let's see. Oh, so Jonathan, also the Great Mustache, says to tell you guys to, you know, refresh your browser if you don't see the chat, because the chat is in there, or the chat is live, but you have to refresh if you want to see it, if you were already here beforehand. So, hey, so quick shout out to everybody. Hey, Ben, see you all the time on Twitter. Appreciate all of the support. Hey, DC, one of our moderators. We got Great Mustache up in the house here, Jonathan Potter. Let's see, Mike Honcho. Hey, Mike, how's it going, buddy? Arachnia, hey, how's it going? Good to see you as well. No Gitsune from Discord. Hey, how's it going? No Gitsune. Let's see, who else we got here? Green-eyed trombonist. That's a great username. I like that. How you doing? Let's see, Fuzzix. Hey, how's it going? Cool. Okay, so I don't want it to be. I don't want to lead this with like a here's my agenda. This is really literally just answers to questions. So we're just gonna hang out, and I'm not gonna talk things to death if there isn't. Hopefully you guys have questions. You better start working on them if you don't, because all I'm planning to do is answer questions tonight. So it can be about anything, and get them in there so I can start answering them. Let's see, I'm going to send out a tweet to let everybody know we are live. right now. Let's see. All right, cool. Tweet is sent. Oh, hey, Alea, it's good to see Alia. It's good to see you. Oh, you don't get updates for the backers. Okay. Well, if you don't know the drama, it's not really drama. It's the end of a long period of drama, actually. Let's see. You can go to the Kickstarter, which I'm trying to work on getting for you. Updates, and then, okay, here we go. Give me 1 second. Here we go. So in here, so I posted a link in chat to the Kickstarter. This is the update that I was referencing when I talked about personal stuff that I had made public. So that is for you, Ben, since you said you were not up to date on stuff. Also, hey, Hans and or Scooter, Time to Tabletop, good to see you. Let's see. Cool. All right. So, so Big Sky RPG asked a question. So Big Sky RPG, he or she said that how do you plan to monetize since the core is free, producing supplements? Great question. So my plan with Open Legend has been pretty well established in my head for a long time. And that is that I wanted to make something that's storytelling focused. And my vision for content and for monetization is actually a matter of providing like really, really excellent story content. And so that's why Ryan Chappells was hired as narrative director full-time to really start cranking real hard on producing story content. We've got a bunch of content that for those who are Kickstarter backers, you will get as a stretch goal. So we've got 2 mini campaign settings. I've got, I won't announce the writer for one of the new ones, pretty like a person that's known already in the industry, but I won't go into detail about who that is because we're still just have to sign some things and that stuff. But that person's going to be working on Shores of Valhalla, and Shores of Valhalla was started a little bit ago and then paused, and then now we're picking it back up. Me, Ryan, and 2 other writers are working on the stuff for the sci-fi campaign setting. It was one of the other stretch goals, a mini campaign setting. It was formerly called The Legacy of 8. It's no longer going to be called that because when it was called The Legacy of 8, it was going to be purchased from someone who had written a lot of it already. That plan changed. Things just didn't work out quite as I had hoped with that. And so instead, we're bringing it in-house, which I'm really very happy with and happy to be doing. So the answer to the question, how do I monetize since the core is free, is that when I started Open Legend, the sort of like spark for it was the mantra, like in one sentence, was how do I create a system? I want to create a system that can tell any story in a movie or video game or book or something like that. And I want to be able to do it with the same rule set. And so that's where the core came from. But the vision with the core was always that it would be a way to create content that's not hindered by really bloated and complex rules. So, man, I try not to do this thing of like, bashing things that people like. So I'm really sorry in advance for that. But like, you have like GURPS. GURPS does a lot of stuff with multi-genre, but what they don't do is they don't do it in a way that's like slim or simple. There's just lots of extra rules, lots of extra charts and all that kind of stuff. And so my goal with Open Legend was to make it so that the content that we release that people pay for is content that is story driven, story first. And that content will always support the rules, and it will help to like make the rules look good in terms of like how flexible they are. And those of you who play, obviously have already found out lots of ways in which the core is flexible. So that's cool. But that's our goal. So, the sci-fi setting is like really, really cool. I'm really, really excited about it. We've got I wanted to do stuff that was different from sci-fi that's out there, because I feel like, you know, there's only so many times that you can copy Star Wars, even though I love Star Wars, so don't get me wrong, but I wanted it to be fairly different. And I think that we're really doing well in that regard. So I'm really, really proud of what we have so far. Super excited to share it with you guys. I'll give you a little sneak peek and say that there's like there's a galaxy or a system called Luminos, and in this system there are three suns of equal size that are in lockstep orbit. So these three suns rotate around each other, but the result is that there's a lot more sort of like radius in which other planets can sort of exist that have, you know, that are habitable, right? And so the story takes place there. And the only other bit I'll tease about right now is just to say that there's there are like two forms of higher beings in the story, and those higher beings are, you know, and not really divine or whatever necessarily, but they're like, one of them exists in a higher dimension, so they transcend the laws of time and space and that sort of thing. And the other is a higher being in the sense that they're kind of like, they're immortal and have sort of digitized their consciousness, and as such, that has lots of ramifications from a story perspective and all that stuff. So anyway, so that's kind of that. Star Wars is not sci-fi, says Joseph. Yes, I know that Star Wars is not sci-fi. I am, well, science fantasy is still, you know, I mean, people, you know, whatever. Sorry for the incorrect language, but the system, the setting is science fantasy. So there's the answer on that question. So I love probably everything I ever do will have fantasy laced into it, even though it might be like technological and stuff like that, because that's just me. And you're probably unlikely to find me, you know, I might do a modern setting, I might do a futuristic setting, any number of like cultural settings that I'd love to do, but I'll always probably infuse the magic and the fantasy on top of it, because I mean, to me, that's, you know, it's hard to get excited about other stuff. So I'll probably let other publishers and stuff take on the stuff that's like gritty or realistic or whatever. Anyway, so let's see. So questions. Let's see. I wondered, you have an anime setting. So yes, I answered Joseph's question. Yes, the Omoria's Dawn will be monetized. That is correct. I hope to build Omoria's Dawn and have it grow over time. There's going to be a lot of content for it already, with multiple adventures, multiple short stories. The short stories are also being written as we speak as well. So let's see. I wonder, do you have an anime setting? I'm not sure that, I think that question is for me. I don't currently have a plan for an anime setting, but I really, really, really want to do one, and I'm currently looking for the correct writer to tackle that once we get to it. But it's got to stay in place in the sense that I have to deliver the stretch goals to you guys first. Stretch goal content comes before, and of course the core rules as well, come before an anime setting. But it is something that I really, really want to do. I think Open Legend will do a really, really good job with it. So I'm excited to pursue that. What do you think about playing a sentient weapon held by a companion? Yeah. Raven, the classy Kenku. I don't know. Do you mean... interesting question. I'm trying to decide if you're asking, like, if it's okay to play two characters, or if you're asking like that the weapon is the character, you know. But anyway, yeah, sure, like a sentient weapon held by a companion's fine. I would just, as a GM, the way I would balance that is I would make sure that you're not assigning like double portion of rewards to like the main character and the companion character. So like, for example, funny you should ask, because I just started playing. Those of you who know Ish, he's my co-writer for the core rules, and Ish Stabos is running a game here locally. Ish and I, have been friends for 20 years, so we've known each other a little while. And in that, Ish is doing an 80s paranormal campaign with aliens and stuff like that. And in that campaign, I'm playing a deranged, not deranged really, but basically suffers really severe PTSD, guy who, it takes place in the 80s. So this guy was in Vietnam, and he's like a veteran from Vietnam, and he's kind of lost it. And I have a companion character which has like mental powers with the influence attribute. And basically my companion character is where all my feat points go. So in a weird way, the main character doesn't really have a lot of special abilities. He's kind of just like this, almost like a muggle. And then the companion character gets all of the feats. And the companion character is the one who's like the handler. So basically this character couldn't really get through life on his own. But then there's this outside force, which is we're still trying to figure out what the nature of this outsider who is the companion character that I also control, what the nature of that character is. We're still trying to figure out, but there's they're called as these wardens who are defenders of the galaxy from paranormal stuff. And so somehow this alien mind-bending shapeshifter character is somehow involved with being a warden and that kind of stuff. So anyway, it's cool to have two characters. I mean, I basically made it so that they don't tend to talk at the same time, because either the main character is kind of crazy and can't cope, and then the companion steps in, or vice versa. And sometimes the companion will shapeshift and do different face character type stuff. Ben asks, so are the campaigns from the stretch goals going to be separate packages to Armoria's Dawn, or will they be PDFs that go out? The mini campaign settings will be PDFs that go out. Same with all the adventure content. The adventures, the short stories, all that stuff that was promised as stretch goals will all go out as PDF by default. And we'll see about printing them. If Open Legend is way more popular than I realized, then I might do a print run of them, but I'm likely to just use print on demand for that supplemental content for those who want physical copies. And your stretch goal rewards don't guarantee you anything with regard to the printed versions. They just get you the free PDF content of all the stretch goals. And then, for the ones that you really love and want to have a physical copy of, that'll probably be available through DriveThruRPG or something like that. Let's see. Open Legend is economic. Thanks, Dave. Not sure what exactly. I guess that's not a question. Let's see. Question: how hard are you finding it to manage running a burgeoning company that has employees scattered across the U.S., says Conrad Curtis. I am finding it, I've kept the team small. So Armoria's Dawn has, many writers, probably in the neighborhood of 15 to 20. But that's a process of exploration where you learn about who you best work with, and you kind of you find people that gravitate toward you, and people, working relationship is a two-way street. So there's, on one hand, there's, how much I vibe with or agree with the writing style of the writer. And on the other hand, there's also how much they are excited about working for me. So it's a two-way street, and for different reasons, it's really hard to find a match with people, because, someone might feel like they're not enthusiastic about working with Open Legend, but it might just be because, their day job just has them really busy, and that's not anything against them. But finding people who are in the right place and the right time in their life, they have time to devote to working for Open Legend, they're enthusiastic about it, I like their work, I feel like it vibes and matches with the style that I'm trying to, go with. Those things are all really hard to do. I manage a team in my day job. I'm a software engineer. Technically my title is UI UX, which is user interface, user experience architect. So I'm the one who breathes life into the code of the experience and sort of envisions it. So I manage a whole team of people at my day job. So it's real hard to, you know, find like that perfect working relationship with people when you're doing like thinking work. You know what I mean? It's one thing if your job is, you know, doesn't involve a lot of creative strategy or planning or whatever, but when it does, it's real hard to find, you know, find the right person. So the same thing. Anyway, I'm lucky. I found exactly the right person. His name is Ryan Shapples, and I hired him full-time, those of you who didn't hear already. And Ryan has been doing an amazing job. He's been on the job for a week and a half now, and he's absolutely killing it. Thanks to him, like I'm able to start a lot more streams of work than I was previously able to start. And so we've got a podcast in the works. We've got, you know, soon it'll be 3 campaign settings working at the same time. You know, 3 mini campaign settings. Each of those, to be clear, I hope that if people love them and, you know, we get sales for like the mini campaign setting, or I don't know, I might never release the mini campaign settings in print, just because I might want to take them as a seed and turn them into a full campaign setting that gets its own Kickstarter. So that's a little bit to be determined. So I'm planning to keep that content as like secret and exclusive for just those who backed via backer kit. And then once we get momentum on it and I feel validated that it's a good direction that people are really in love with, then I might make it its own Kickstarter. But yeah, so I don't know if that answers Curtis's question, Conrad Curtis' question about managing employees. Ryan's helping out a lot. He's doing amazing stuff. He's making it easier. Ryan is incredible. He is good as a manager. He's good as a writer. He's good as all kinds of things. He's the perfect complement to what, and he and I, you know, almost always think the same thing and feel the same way about things creatively and are always on the same page. So anyway, but I've managed people for a long time. It's part of my day job. I've started 6 or 7 companies before this company, so that part's not really new. I've been managing people for 12 years or something like that now. And it's good. Being remote is helpful. It means that you can draw on a bigger pool, and it's easier to find the person that matches with your style and your approach. So let's see. Ooh, I guess I got to answer these questions quicker because I think I'm pretty backlogged here. Sorry about that. So let's see. Next question. Personal question. Did you write yourself into the adventures? Ooh, interesting question. I did not write myself into any adventures. It never occurred to me to do. You know, when I write and I create the worlds, they're so real to me, you know, and they're so about like, you know, I'm very into like respecting the canon. I see this as like a whole world that it's in my imagination, but I'm breathing it to life. And so myself being there doesn't really match with it being like in my imagination, because like reality, if it's like me there. So, you know, I've never thought about writing myself into adventures. I will have to, you know, if Quentin Tarantino, I'll ask him why he does to me. So how, Big Sky RPG asks, how is OL doing as far as notoriety and adoption among players? Is there a plan to do any organized play? I have had somebody come to me about organized play. I'd like to do it. I'm worried about doing it because I think that it is really, really time consuming, and I'm really afraid I don't have to spend like a lot of money paying someone to run organized play, and I think it's a lot of work. So some people have volunteered and stepped forward, and maybe we'll do that, but I want to spend time with those people and make sure that they realize how much work they are volunteering to do. You know, so that's kind of where it is. I think adoption overall is really good. I've heard that a lot. It seems that the community is really active. I see, you know, interaction on the website. The visits for the website remain really high, which is a good sign because we've released the core rules PDF, And so some people don't need to go online anymore, but they still are. So I see that as a good sign. I think adoption is really strong, and it's just a matter of, we got the big splash that I wanted to when I sort of released it, and then the rest is just, you know, people who haven't played and are really, you know, set on their existing game system, and those people will just take time. They'll just get worn down gradually by their friends, and you know, they'll meet one person that tells them about it, and then they're like, no, I won't do that, and then they meet the second, third, fourth, and you know, by the 5th or 10th person that tells them you really should play Open Legend, you know, then finally they'll maybe. What is Ed Greenwood and Matt Mercer's involvement? Ed Greenwood and Matt Mercer are both writers for the Amoria's Dawn campaign setting, and so that is their involvement. They're not like the lead writer. It's actually kind of like, it's more or less me as the lead like developer for the project, and then, you know, the person who did the most after me, of course, would be, you know, and I'm saying like I'm like a developer. I didn't do a lot of the, you know, I also wrote for the setting as well. Some of the writing that you'll find is my writing, but a lot of it also, you know, is like Ryan. So again, shout out to Ryan. He's amazing. He did more writing for Amoria's Dawn than any other one contributor did. But yeah, Matt and Ed were both people who wrote for the campaign setting, kind of under my direction. I kind of gave them like a piece that I said, I want you to do this kind of a thing here and write something along these lines. So, you know, so anyway, I think that answers the question. So they were, you know, they kind of were given a sandbox to play in that had some borders drawn around it, and they went to town. That's what Ed Greenwood and Matt Mercer did. So let's see, it's very in depth. Do you mind if I create a godlike character based off of campaigns? I would be honored if you created a godlike character based off of me. I don't. I'm not sure if I am, you know, as legendary as you think I am, but I don't mind if you want to roll with that. I am honored to be esteemed in such a way. So let's see. Playing as a weapon could be fun. Okay, yes. Plays a night question. Yes. Is Open Legend hardcover going to be distributed and purchasable at game stores? Great question, Dave. I am waiting to get. So the way distribution works is you send books to the distributors and you kind of beg them like, hey, pick me up, you know, from a distribution standpoint. So I have to actually get the physical books back. And that's why I've always said that your best bet, if you like Open Legend, is to back the Kickstarter, because there's no way that you'll get it in your retail store as soon as you would from the Kickstarter, because the shipment comes in from printing, it goes to the distributor, and then, or well, sorry, it goes to the fulfillment house where the books are going to be kept, and then like there will be an online store where you can buy the books online on Open Legend's website, and then they'll get sent out from the distributor, sorry, I said it again, from the fulfillment house. But distribution, I need to actually send those books to the distributor, and I have to have them first. So basically, until I have the books, I can't. You won't be able to. I won't be able to send them to a distributor, and I have to do that for them to then say, okay, sure, yeah, we'll distribute Open Legend. Ben asks, given the core rules being open, will continue to change and evolve over time. I think yes, that because the core rules are open, that it will the content creation amongst both third parties and then also like in-house is going to be helped by the system being open and the rules being public. That's why I made it that way. That is correct. Will the core book from the Kickstarter be first of many monetized forms of those core rules? No, Ben. There should be almost no core rules expansions. The goal is not to make this system more complex. I believe that Pathfinder stepped on a slippery slope And my whole goal was to make it so that content could drive sales and story could drive sales rather than rules books and splat books and all that that we are familiar with from the D&D model of 3rd and 4th edition, and 5th edition to a lesser extent, Pathfinder, obviously. I wanted to move in a different direction, and so no, we won't be, there will probably be rules expansions, but, you know, 2 over the next 5 to 10 years or something, you know. And you'll find some of those expansion rules will, actually, that's a good point. In a lot of ways, the expansion rules will get, you know, will become part of like a campaign setting, but not in the way that like with like other role-playing game systems or publishers, they'll, you know, there'll be like this one really good, like super good item or class or feat or whatever that you get in this one book, and then you have to buy that book. I just think that's a really like sort of disingenuous way to do marketing and do sales. So in this, it would be like, yeah, the mini campaign setting for the sci-fi setting, you know, might have a few, like 1 or 2 rules that helps to better do storytelling for sci-fi, you know, but anyway, it won't be, what am I trying to say? Despite that, it won't be like a thing where you need to buy the books, you know. It'll always be that the rules that are in expansion rules that are in a setting book are just, you know, just filling in a little tiny gap. I don't think Open Legend has lots of really big gaps unless you just like complexity. Then you know, it's never going to be your thing. If you love like really complex systems and you want that in a system, then that won't be Open Legend. But yeah, there'll be a couple rules here and there added to some supplements, but nothing that's going to make you feel like you need to buy that book to get it. Let's see. Okay, what about Spaceship as the character? Oh, okay, that's Terry's question. I won't get into spaceships and stuff. I mean, we have vehicle rules for that. That might not have even been a question for me. Let's see. Question. I'm looking for people who have written question in here. Scrolling through. Will there be printable versions of the Bane and Boone cards? Good question. I haven't decided yet. You know, I might want to keep them as a thing that you have to pay for. By the way, the Boone and Bane decks got an upgrade when I went to print and worked with my printer, who are amazing. They're going to do like a foil on the cards, so they're going to be really incredible. Can't wait to get those to you. You know, but whether there are existing, you know, community created like Bane Boone cards, whether or not we do official ones, I haven't decided yet. But first, I'm going to do the Boone and Bane decks before I ever release a PDF or any like a printable version of them. Are there plans for running things at conventions? Yeah, I think I answered the question about Adventurers League. So conventions are, we're going to be going to Gen Con. So for those of you who aren't familiar, there's going to be a panel, a GM Improv Showdown panel, and we're very close to getting confirmation from Nerdarchy. You guys know Nerdarchy. They're going to be live streaming the event, probably live from Gen Con. So we have a couple different sponsorship deals in the works for people. I'm not taking any money from this GM Improv Showdown panel. It's got Matt Mercer, Satine Phoenix, Shauna Germain of Monty Cook Games, Ryan and myself are going to be on there, and Andrew is as a new. Adam Coble had a flight conflict because he was flying in from Japan, so Adam was going to be on, but he dropped, and now it's going to be Andrew from Dawnforged Cast is going to be on the panel as well. And this is going to be live broadcast, I guess, live on Nerdarchy's YouTube channel, live from, and will probably be like retweeted, you know, and stuff by Gen Con proper social media. So there'll probably be thousands and thousands of people watching. And then there's the event itself has 250 seats, and it's sold out in a couple hours. So, but there are like a few games. Actually, let's see. Let me do this here. Take a moment, and yeah, there are a few games that still have seats. at Gen Con if you haven't already made your schedule. So I just dropped that link in there and in chat, and you might be able to find a seat for a few different games that are, most of them are all filled up. But we're going to be at Gen Con running games, and then we're going to have our own booth, and we're going to run games at our own booth at PAX Unplugged. So if you're East Coast, which I am, actually Philly is like in my backyard, and this is going to be in Philly. So I'm super, super excited about that. Probably Ryan will come out join me for that, and we're going to have the Nerdarchy crew there as well. We're going to partner with them, and they're going to help man the table and run some games, and they're going to, you know, they'll be there to chat about Nerdarchy stuff if you're a Nerdarchist. So let's see. Joseph asked, do you hire only writers that work on prose, or do you hire writers who generate ideas and writer for the lore? So that's a really interesting question. I was just talking to Ryan about this yesterday, and we have a little bit of an unusual thing. Between Ryan and myself, the speed at which we generate the world building and the lore is kind of really, really, really fast. And I'm not saying that because I don't like to, you know, be too self-congratulatory, but it just creates a thing where there's not a lot of, it's hard for me to find a reason to hire what you might call developers. So the way I work is everybody on the team is expected to, if I work with freelancers, they're expected to be really strong in prose. I mean, the strongest possible anyway. And then world building is seen as like a thing where we do weekly meetings, myself and the writer's circle, and we hash out ideas on a weekly basis with me, Ryan, and the writers. And we basically set the tone for what's going to be written from a prose perspective, you know, over the coming week. And we do that in like a meeting that's an hour or so, or hour or two every week. And so the reason I explain that is to say that I think that answers the question, is that right now my standard is that I want people who are good world builders and lore creators, but you have to have a strong prose ability also to be on the current writing team. That might change, you know, that'll change, I guess, as the number of work streams increases and it grows beyond what, you know, what I'm capable of. Yeah, apparently Conrad Curtis and Ryan are going to wine and dine me. Appreciate that. I look forward to the royal treatment, as it were. If you keep the world builders and actual prose writers separate. So yeah, I answered that question. No, I don't keep the world builders and prose writers separate. They're the same group. Let's see. More comments about world building versus prose. And let's see. Where are we in this? Wow, lots of questions. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I feel honored. This is like a lot of questions in here. Let's see. Who do we have here? Where am I? Okay. Somehow the chat just jumped a bunch. Wow, I've got a lot of ground to cover. So if I'm interested in writing a setting, how do I contact you or Ryan about it? You can reach us at the general mailbox. That is info@seventhsphere.co, not co, like as in company without the M. So seventh sphere, info@seventhsphere. It's spelled out, so SEVENTH sphere.co. You can reach us there and put together a pitch, and we'll take a look at it. Okay, Grim DS, good to put in Terry and Grim DS. I think you told me before, but it's been a while. I forgot. Ben asked, speaking of my day job, is it still taking up a majority of your time, or are you sidelining things that aren't Open Legend more? Yes, I am hoping, Ben, that Open Legend becomes my day job. I'm on I've put myself on a 2-year plan for that. I hired Ryan because I realized that we're going to get bottlenecked if we didn't get more people on it. But my day job is important in funding Open Legend, so I need to keep that, and that's why I hired Ryan to kind of do like full-time stuff where I wasn't as able to. So Ryan starting really answers your question, Ben. Like, that's the ramp up, is that we have a full-time employee who is not me. I still put in, a lot of hours, on Open Legend. And yes, I am hoping to eventually, get to that point and switch over. I'm hoping it's maybe 18 months away or something, 2 years. I don't know. Jonathan Great Mustache said that you can write a setting without contacting us. Yeah, I mean, I assumed that you were, I get a lot of pitches, to be clear, from people who want to write stuff or want me to publish it. So just, there's a kind of high bar for doing that, but don't let that stop you. I wouldn't if I were you. But yeah, if you want it to be published by me and, you want to sell me your writing, then you can email me, like I said a moment ago. Let's see. I mean, okay. Let's see. Local computer podcast. Ben said, I have a podcast in the works. Is that going to be a game that we can tune into, or is it more of a behind-the-scenes process? No, the podcast is actual play content, and it's actually going to be really cool because we're going to do it sort of like, it's going to be very comedy-centric. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of take it and we're going to heavily edit 3 hours down to 1 hour. So we're going to remove a lot of the dead space in a game, make it like more fast-paced. We're going to even edit stuff that's just not as interesting. Like there might be whole scenes that get cut from a given recording, but it's going to be humor-based, and it's going to be kind of like it's going to be really, really funny. I'm really excited about it. I don't want to put too many words around it because it might limit it, or might make it only appealing to some people. And of course everything's only appealing to some people, but I think you should just, if you like laughing and you have a soul, then you should, check out this podcast. We're going to talk more about it, I think, at Gen Con. I'm not sure when release is going to be. It might be late August or September that the first episode goes out. Let's see. Question Esther asked, any idea of the pre-release one-shot? Yes, Esther, thank you. I'm guessing that you might be one of those folks. Thank you so much for backing and for being so generous to be an inner council member. The situation is that I want to finish Amoria's Dawn and get it to the printer, and then there will be another like 8, 10-ish weeks before it actually arrives. And my plan is to do those sessions during that like 10-week period. And Ryan has done a great job of moving us forward and getting us a lot closer to publishing and getting Amoria's Dawn to the printer. Core rules are already quite close, or basically done. I need to put out a revised PDF to make sure that there's sort of last minute check. We got lots of help from the community on proofreading, and that's great. And anyway, once we get this stuff to the printer, then I'm going to get in touch with the folks who are inner council members to do the pre-release, because that'll be the window when I'm not so, actively pushing on getting the core rules and Amoria's Dawn out. And then in that like 8-week window, those who are backers that get to do a private, pre-release session will get the opportunity then. Thank you for asking. I am glad that you did. Crund is saying, greetings, Earth Realm creator of lore. Yes, greetings, Crund. Or cruel generator of lore. Oh no, it's not lore, it's real. I'm sorry, in that alternate dimension. Imagine having Open Legend RPG. Will you allow, Joseph says, third parties to put the official logo? The thought right now is that it says licensed product, Open Legend logo, but licensed product. And you can go here Let's see, Open Legends. So you can go to openlegendrpg.com/community license, which I will paste in chat. And if you go there, then you can, throw in your own. You're given a certain logo, and that logo says licensed product instead of the official, where it says open source RPG in the subtext. And the goal is that I do want to maintain a separation between official content and third-party content, but you still get the the Open Legend logo, obviously. But we want to keep that distinction between them. But I think I feel like that's generous. That I feel like that's a yes to using the logo. It's just that I want to have a minor, twist on it so that people can tell the difference. So let's see, let's see, world expansions, the option to buy. Dave McCauley asked if there will be rules expansions with the option to buy. Do you mean third party? I'll answer either way, but third party, yeah, DriveThruRPG has a program where you can do third party content and have it all sort of grouped as this is the Open Legend sort of store of third party content, similar to how, and really DriveThruRPG is the same thing that powers the DMs Guild, and it's called One Bookshelf. That's the underlying tech, and it's the same for DriveThruRPG as it is for DMs Guild for D&D. So yeah, I imagine people will do rules expansions and stuff. I hope that people will follow my lead and do more story-focused content rather than rules, because my goal with Open Legend is not to do, neither myself nor third parties do I want to do lots and lots of rules changes. I want them to use the existing toolkit, which can do almost anything as it is. But yeah, so people can publish however they want. As I already answered, I'm not going to be doing a lot of rules expansions myself. But if people want to do that, yeah, they can publish wherever they want, Lulu or DriveThruRPG. Anything's fine, just as long as the community license is obeyed. It has some terms about how you identify and stuff like that. Let's see. Is OL getting into any of the big cons, and are any DMs running it? So yeah, we're in the biggest con, which is Gen Con, and we're also in PAX Unplugged. The PAX shows, cons are really, really big, and this is their first year that they're doing Unplugged, which is the first one that focuses strictly on tabletop gaming. So if you are at the if you're in the East Coast, or if you're not, you should fly in. I imagine that within 2-3 years, it's going to rival Gen Con in size, because Gen Con is, from what I understand, very overcrowded, and there's probably companies that would rather just do just PAX Unplugged, because PAX is such a good brand and they run a really great convention. Gen Con's, I'm not in any way saying anything negative about Gen Con. Gen Con's amazing too, but I think that people will start to sort of go to one or the other, because the convenience of PAX Unplugged is incredible for someone like me, where it's 45 minutes away. So yeah, so Ryan is going to be at Gen Con, I'm going to be at Gen Con, and then Bree and Steven, two of our writers, are all going to be running games at Gen Con. So that's going to be awesome. A website revamp. Yeah, I want to do a website revamp, but I'm pretty busy on content. I don't know. I need to get the rules updated on the website, because they're not current after some of the edits that came about from the core rules alpha PDF pre-release. But something like global search is not going to happen too soon, but I'll do it when I can. Can't post the link. Let's see. Thanks. Make sure to put question. Yes, please put question in if you have a question. Joseph asks, how does one go about making a campaign setting for that's also detailed. Joseph, how to do it is detailed in the core rules, or in the community license section in the link that I shared. So it's openlegendrpg.com/community-license. James, that's great. I'm so glad that you are in my group. Can't wait to game with you as well. Super, super exciting. I use Realmworks for anything. Any plans to allow OL to be purchased from their content market? Yeah, sure. I mean, we can. I mean, the Realmworks folks will have to talk to me. You know, I don't know. If somebody wants to broker that relationship, you know, like by all means, just go talk to them and just ask Realmworks. You know, I don't. It's not high on my list, but if they are into it, then sure. You know, if somebody wants to do the work and they're into it, we can do it. The Adventure Zone, no, sadly, Conrad Curtis asked if I heard back from the Adventure Zone or Hero Lab. Hero Lab, there is a community, Open Legend community site post where I linked over to a Hero Lab post, and basically Hero Lab wants people to comment on their forum if they want Open Legend, and they're pretty selective. It seems like they're not all that likely to add new rule sets. That's what they sort of indicated. But if you want that to happen, go to Hero Labs forums and, you know, +1 that post and say, hey, I want Open Legend for Hero Lab as well. And you can find it on the Open Legend site. There's one that links over to, just search for Hero Lab on Open Legend community site. The Adventure Zone, no, sadly, I've emailed those guys and tweeted them and tried to harass them and not got anywhere with that, unfortunately. Let's see. Yes, Skagith says, great job on the push and efforts and overall work. Had a lot of fun with the system, jammed over it, and kind of role play. In the Hive game, question, is it time to breathe? Yeah, that's what I've been doing. You know, I've been taking it easy because I kind of reached a point of near breakdown. I was working, for those of you who don't know, you know, there's the whole thing with my divorce, which you can check out the Kickstarter updates section to get more detail on that. But, you know, basically because of like mental health problems with my partner, it got to a point where I was basically working 20 hours a day and sleeping 4, which kind of pushed me to the point of sort of breakdown. And but when I realized like how bad I was doing, what happened was I realized that the work I was doing wasn't causing me stress, and I wasn't doing it because I'm like sort of crazy or you know, unable to be rational or whatever. I actually was doing it because it was my best way of escaping and not having to interact with my partner because of mental health issues that were on the other person's side. And so, you know, Open Legend in a way kind of drove me to the brink of you know, a breakdown because of how much I was working on it. But then when I stopped, it wasn't Open Legend that was stressing me out. It was the fact that I was using Open Legend as a safe place to avoid a lot of harassment and that kind of stuff. It goes a lot deeper than that. I won't get into too much detail. So when you hire writers, do you look solely for prose skill? You also hire people who excel at world building. I answered that question already. Novels and short stories. Let's see. Yes, we want to do novels and short stories. Yes, I'm looking for prose writers mainly. The prose writers also do the world building with the help of me and Ryan. That's the current situation. Let's see, because writing, oops, darn, sometimes maybe when I get an @Open Legend is when the chat jumps all the way down. If we've already backed an order, can you place another order? Sure, you can place another order. You know, you can email, you know, you can either put in a separate email address if you want to just quickly like create a separate one. I mean, that's, you know, easy for me because of like it's a separate shipment, so that kind of makes sense. You know, and if you can email us at info@seventhsphere.co if it's a problem. Thank you, thank you, GrimDS Terry, for wanting to give the gift of Open Legend. Joseph asked, when you hire workers, yes, I look solely for pro skill. Let's see. Yes. Is this a Smash friendly zone? Krund brought his club. Yeah, I'd say this is a safe space for smashing. I mean, yeah, that's it's pretty antithetic, but very funny as well. Let's see. Let's see. The podcast, though. Krund is excited. Yeah, I am excited as well, Krund. I am looking forward to that podcast. Are there any plans or interest in a virtual tabletop specifically for Open Legend? That's a good question. I wouldn't be able to tell you why we would do that instead of just using like Roll20. Unless you're talking about like D&D, like Wizards of the Coast is merging like Magic, and they're doing like virtual reality and stuff that requires way more money than I have. But Roll20 works, and you know, our good friend Jonathan Potter, aka Great Mustache, is the loving maintainer of the character sheet, which I think I might still want to get in there. And every time I talk about the character sheet, I say that I'm gonna tweak its style a little bit, you know. But nevertheless, it is amazing work that he's done. So I don't want to take away from his work. He is like a absolute godsend in the sense that he has done so much work for me and helping me out in so many ways. So I'm very appreciative of him and the rest of the moderator team. So Roll20 already has a character sheet. If you didn't know that, then you know, get on the community sites and ask about that. But that should answer the question about virtual tabletop for Open Legend. That's the current plan. And then there's another one. What was it? Hero Forge, maybe? Who said that they were interested in doing Open Legends rule set for their, like, I don't know if it's virtual tabletop or if it's something else, but anyway, but they said they just have a lot of other work to do first that they'll catch up. Fantasy Grounds, yes. Actually, I just scrolled and saw that. That is the one. Fantasy Grounds is the one that is going to, or that has expressed interest, but they said that it'll be a little while before they're able to get to it because of other stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool. Open Legend Con on Roll20. Yeah, why not? You know, I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. I like the idea for sure. Fantasy Grounds. To be clear, also, I want to just to let everyone know that, like, I am separated and I'm in a safe place in terms of like all the trauma with my marriage and that sort of thing. And so I'm okay. I went through a while of like really unable to do anything but sort of think about the past 12 years and what transpired there, and how did I get myself into a situation where, you know, I was not allowed to tell anybody about these problems. And my partner had framed it and sort of said that it was personal marriage problems, and because it was personal, that made it private, and then we couldn't really tell anyone. That wasn't allowed to tell anyone about the issues that we were having. But anyway, it was pretty bad. But I spent 3 or 4 weeks just telling all of the close people who I had never spoken to about the problems. You know, my closest inner circle told those people. Just spent 3 weeks basically, like probably, geez, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 hours over that time, basically hardly able to do any work or do anything but just thinking and sort of like processing through all of it. So I'm doing really well now, and I'm finally able to be productive and to be creative and get back to it in the swing of things. And kind of took like a month or so, but I'm doing well. So I just want you guys to not worry about me, other than the, you know, inherent headache of just the process of divorce and legal stuff. And other than that, I'm doing well. So don't you worry. And I have very supportive friends who I am lucky to have take me in. So I'm with them for the foreseeable future, at least until legal stuff closes and all that kind of stuff. Let's see. So Esther, thanks for asking. So yeah, I am taking good care of myself, and I didn't comment on that, but I'm doing a really good job. I'm going back to lots and lots of things that I haven't done in years and years. Things like you know, like playing music that I haven't done for many years. You know, seeing a lot of friends that I wasn't really like, because my partner had this problem where like everyone would be like sort of blacklisted in a way, like because they were untrustworthy, and there was a lot of like paranoia and weird stuff happening there, and so it kind of edged out a lot of people from my life. And so I've been reconnecting with a lot of people, almost, it seems like, not every day, but you know, often reconnecting with people that I haven't talked to in many years. And you know, I'm doing a lot more martial arts. I've been practicing martial arts for about 20 years now or so, and I'm getting a lot more active with it. Had kind of lapsed or was at a low point with it, and so I'm practicing that more, spending time with friends, you know, music, doing things that are not just work, you know. Although I love Open Legends, so again, really doesn't feel like work. But my favorite villainous character, Kaiser Soze. And let's see, Kaiser Soze, the reason is because I love things that are intricate and complex and plots that are interwoven. And I think he's the best. Is there a great beard to go with a great mustache? I don't know. You tell me. Is there a great beard to go with a great mustache? Oh, and then Jonathan said the same thing, and I read it after I said that, which is pretty funny. That's great. Plus 100, Jonathan. The greatest beard. You're looking like you're working through things well, and truly commend you in your efforts. You have inspired me to write again and write my own campaign. Thanks again to you and your team. Why, thank you, GrimDS. That's very, very kind of you to say that. Yeah, honestly, that means more than I can express in words right here, to know that the work has inspired other people to do the same. That was my goal. You know, I wanted to create a system that could be used to tell any story, you know, without the rules getting in the way or needing to, you know, have like a massive rewrite every time. That was the goal. And that's also why the exploding dice are there, in case you didn't know. I wanted it to be like this potential, that this thing that's like a 1 in a million chance that happens in a movie. That's what the exploding dice are about. It's of course very unlikely to happen, but you know, you can roll a 90, you can roll over 100, and you know, as a result, it makes it so that those absurd things that happen in movies, you know, Open Legend could be the thing that is the backing, you know, engine, the tabletop game rules engine underneath of them. You know, and that's actually it's pretty important to me. And that's part of the whole idea, the mantra of a story, a rules engine that can be used to tell any story in a book or video game or TV or movie. Let's see. Again, Joseph, really glad to hear how inspired you are. You know, I'm very grateful for you just tracking with us and supporting. It means a lot to me. Conrad Curtis asks, Geek and Sundry tabletop with Mr. Wheaton. Have you looked into contacting them? No, I haven't yet. Fate, Fate is now 4 years old, and they just now got onto tabletop, I think, with Will Wheaton recently. I need to talk to those guys, but no. I've not talked to them. If anyone has contacts, you've got my email address, and just email me and let me know if you can help me get in touch with Will Wheaton. I have other contacts that I can kind of reach out to, but anyway, other fish to fry at the moment, but I'd love to get on tabletop, of course. Yeah, Peterborough area. Terry, where is that? Peterborough in what state or whatever? So thanks, Joseph, for stopping by. Look at that. I thought that I would never get through that. Well, an hour and 10 minutes, that's not bad. Actually. So what, anybody else last chance at questions? You may have been watching all this time thinking that you would never get your question answered. I feel like I got most all of them. Yes, Jonathan asked a question, which is not really a question, but rather a promotion, a plug. He has written some really cool, fun stuff about, I don't know her last name, Bunny something or other, the character that he made up on, and he's written some stuff about that character on the community site, which is great. So I recommend that you check it out. He did a great job with showing progression of character over a series of levels where they kind of grow and become more powerful. Really, really good job with that, Jonathan, aka Great Mustache. Keep up the good work. Really appreciate you. And you guys should check out his thing. Anyone else have questions? Terry, I see that you're in Ontario. I have, other than the really lame thing of traveling to Niagara Falls once or maybe twice, I've not been anywhere in Canada other than that. So I'm very, very, very illiterate when it comes to travel in Canada. I've traveled to, a number of other countries, India, Mexico, St. Lucia, Europe, never been to South America. But anyway, I'd love to stop by Ontario. I'll let you know if I do. As far as the GM screen, is the product going to be shipping out around the same time as the core rules? Yeah, good question. Conrad Curtis asked. That's actually, originally I was going to have a separate printer do that, but I got such a great deal with my printer, and they're going to actually they have a setup also to do fulfillment as well. And as such, we're going to print all of those bad boys. Literally, Bane decks, Boon decks, all the hardback books for Amoria's Dawn and Core Rules, limited edition, everything, all printed by the same people. Amazing group, amazing company called Kraken Print, and they are going to they're going to do the GM screen, and anything Bane, Boon decks, GM screen, everything is done by them. Everything physical, and as such, we'll have it all together, in the same place. We'll be able to shrink wrap it all, send it out together. So I'm excited about that. Let's see. There are, let's see. James asked how many different designs are there, of my my business cards. 25 right now, and there are 100 total cards. So there's only 4 of each, but there's 25 different designs. So it's going to be real hard to collect them all. So if you guys start a conspiracy of like trying to siphon off as many business cards as you can in order to complete the set, I just got to warn you, there's going to need to be 25 of you at Gen Con to pull that off. So you might want to start pulling your, human resources right now, just as a heads up. Let's see, broad estimate for the release. Release is, like I said, about 10 weeks after I get it off to the printer. And we're at a point now where NPC stat blocks took a while, and Ryan finished that. And so that's like we're kind of, I need to go through his work, make sure that all the stat blocks look like what I want them to look like, and then I can start doing layout. And that's going to take a little while too, but then I'll have a layout like a PDF of Amoria's Dawn. So the good news is you don't have to wait, until the physical book arrives to see Amoria's Dawn. You'll be able to get the PDF and get a nice, you'll get the content before you actually have the physical book. And so I anticipate that I probably need maybe 2 more weeks or so. I'm not working I'm not working 20 hours a day and sleeping 4 hours like I used to. So I'm not as fast as I used to be, but I'm going to be working real soon on starting to do layout on the on Amoria's Dawn. And so then that'll go out as soon as I can. And then another, like I said, about maybe 10 or so weeks after that, you'll have the physical product in your hands. Let's see. For the Bane and Boondex, will it be readily after the initial release? Yes. The Bane and Boondex are going to be available, might be a thing that's only available through Open Legends store. So we'll have a store where you can buy direct from us because, as a company, you don't want people skimming off the top if you don't need them to. Obviously, we'll put our stuff on Amazon as well to increase discoverability, but we'll always have Open Legend store, which we don't currently have, but that'll happen. And the Bane and Boondex and the GM screen might be only available, maybe only available through the Open Legend store, at least initially, because in that case, I need to get into distribution with something like Amazon, and that's different than like the Bane and Boondex. You can't just sell. You can't have just sort of print them because Amazon do that like you can with like CreateSpace. However, you can sell them. Sell a block of the Bane and Boondex to Amazon, which would be great, but that's determined. So yeah. But the answer is that all the product will be available after the release, and it will be available. What did I lose? Okay. Oh, I just dropped for a second there. Interesting. So all the product will be available in the OpenLegendRPG.com store, and it'll always be available there. Whether it's available in other outlets like DriveThruRPG or Amazon is to be determined. So how do you do Resurrection in Open Legend? How do you roll for damage in Open Legend? Oh my gosh. How do you like me asking a bunch of questions? I don't know. I think I might have to banhammer old Jonathan Potter. Color's green. My favorite color is green. I don't like you asking this many questions. That's the answer to that question. How do you do control of the weather? You do. I would use ritual invocation and a bunch of high-level spells or the attribute. As I decided that Resurrection is a plot point, and whether a character comes back should not be like a video game. This is a story, and as such, your decision to let someone or not should be part of whatever story you're trying to tell. For Resurrection to be in the rules, if you have a modern campaign setting or something where people coming back to life doesn't make as much sense. Let's see. John, you're too much. He needs to change his name to Great Baby Face. Yeah. Resurrection could be done with Titan Invocation, sure. All right. Gotta run. See ya. Mr. Potter. It's been real. Cool. Well, I think we're about done here. We spent hour and something minutes together. It was fun and good times. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. It was great to interact with everyone in the community. Hopefully that answers all your questions, and you know, let the mod team know or something. If you have other questions, they can probably answer them or filter them back to you or whatever. Cool. Nighty night, everybody. And also, I don't normally do this, but is this like this? Like, love you guys, something like that? Yeah, anyway. Cool. Well, I appreciate you guys, and I am, yep, I'm doing well. Don't worry about me. Cool. All right. I will talk to you all later. I'm going to say goodnight for real now. Bye-bye, everybody. Let's see here. How do I...